Hello! You might know that I enjoy reading fantasy. Shocking, I know. And I enjoy reading epic fantasy in particular. And so there are some series that I would really like to finally start in 2021. Some of them have been on my want to read list for a long time. Some of them are a little bit on the newer side, but these are all adult epic fantasy series that I'm really interested to begin in 2020, 2021. Some of them I will finish, hopefully, in 2021 if I like them, and some of them are quite long and so I might not finish them. Now, I'm not including any series that I have already started in this video. There are lots of fantasy series that I've already started that I want to continue, but these are just ones that I haven't started yet. I'm going to start off with the two that I don't yet have copies of, and the first one is Daevabad by S.A. Chakraborty, book one being The City of Brass. And this is a newer epic fantasy series that has had just so much praise since it first came out. I think book one came out in 2017, and this is a book set in 18th century Cairo, and it involves kind of portal magic and djinn, and I don't really know too much about it. In fact, I don't know huge amounts about any of these, and I kind of like to keep it that way with epic fantasy. I feel like it's more enjoyable if you figure it out as you go. So this is one that I'm really looking forward to reading. And then another one that I don't yet own that I'm interested in reading is the City of Stairs series by Robert Jackson Bennett, who is an author I've read from before. I've read Foundryside and Shorefall by him, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and this is his completed epic fantasy trilogy, and it is set in a world where the magic that everybody relied on for everything has just disappeared, as have the gods who were in charge, and new gods have taken over, but they're not very good, and so we're kind of following a band of rebels who's trying to, or superheroes kind of, who are trying to overthrow these new powers. So interesting. Moving on to the books that I have got the first in the series of, we have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, which is a very dark epic fantasy that is kind of war-based and follows Rin, who in the first book, as I understand it, is in training for this war. I've had so many trigger warnings for this. If you're interested in this one, check out the trigger warnings too. But again, slightly newer epic fantasy series, but tons of praise out there for it, so I'm really interested to give this one a go. And again, because it's a trilogy, as with the last two I mentioned, because they're a trilogy and they're all available already now, if I like them, I'll be able to read the whole of each of these trilogies straight off the bat, so that's good. Now moving on to slightly longer series. The first one is not complete, and that is the Gentleman Bastards series by Scott Lynch, book one being The Lies of Loch Lamora. And I was going to read this in December. It was my TBR jar pick for December, but actually, because I'm doing this thing in 2021 where I want to start epic fantasy series, I decided to keep this one back for that. And I have plenty of other books that I want to get to in December anyway, so that's fine. This one is kind of like Oliver Twist, because Loch Lamora and his friend Jean are part of this band of thieves, and I believe that this one is a heist story, so that should be super fun. Don't really know where the series goes. I think that book four has either just come out or is about to come out, but that's not the last one in the series. I don't actually know how many books are going to be in this series, so it's an unfinished one with multiple books, but actually I've kind of got over the whole not wanting to pick up a series until it's finished thing, so that's fine. This next one, I'm not sure if it's finished, but I know that there's already something like 10 books in this series, and that is Malazan, or Malazan. I think the author says Malazan, but I struggle to say that, so I'm going to say Malazan. So this is the first book, Gardens of the Moon. And I think, as I said, I think there are about 10 books in this series now, and it's supposed to start off pretty slow and be pretty complicated. I have absolutely no idea at all what this series is about. None. But it's an epic fantasy series and I'm kind of interested to see what it's about, so I want to read it. Similar kind of thing, but a series that is definitely finished and has 13 books, I think. Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, which I have had on my TBR for so long. I actually have the first 5 books in this series that were given to me, kind of, you know, handed down to me by a friend many years ago. And at the time the series wasn't complete, and at that time I was still in the I don't want to read series that aren't complete stage of my life, and funnily enough, now that I'm out of that stage, this is actually finished. And the last 3 books were written by Brandon Sanderson, because Robert Jordan unfortunately died whilst writing this. I mean, he didn't die while writing it, you know what I mean. I also don't really know what this is about. I know that there are multiple magic systems in here, and that it is, you know, one of the classic epic fantasy stories. So it's a pretty chunky series. This first book is 814 pages. I mean, it is a mass market paperback, but this is an undertaking, but I've been putting it off long enough, so I want to read it. So those are some epic fantasy series that I would really like to get to in 2021, and if I like them, finish as many of them as possible in 2021 as well. But I'm not going to put that pressure on myself. One of my goals for this coming year in terms of reading is to spend a little bit longer on the books that I'm reading, so not rush through them as quickly because I want to hit a number goal. I'm still going to set myself a Goodreads goal, but my focus is going to be on taking my time with books. Now, I'm still not going to drag them out because I always enjoy books more if I read them within a shorter space of time than over a longer space of time, but I still would like to take a little bit more time with especially these books, because, for example, this one I've heard is really complicated, especially at the beginning, especially in this first book. So I want to give myself the time and the space to properly absorb what is going on and be able to understand it so that I can enjoy it. So that's the plan with these books and for 2021 in general. If there are any other epic fantasy series that you think that I should add to this list, then let me know. I am definitely all ears. And if there are any series you are hoping to start in 2021, let me know that as well. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks, bye!